Hello, this is Nathan Ogilvie from the right. Hello, this is the Rightist Leftist with Nathan Ogilvie. I am Nathan Ogilvie, and if you're watching this video, you've either been recommended it or you're starting to follow along with my channel. And I want this video to just be a highlighting of my theory of what I call the everyday Aussies, which is basically not a revolutionary idea, but the concept that in my conversations now that I'm having with everyday Aussies about the political environment in Australia is that we recognise that we're getting screwed, but we don't a lot of the time quite know how. And my whole purpose of this channel is to highlight what's going on and to look at practical ways that we can start to reverse the damage that's being done and how difficult it is economically for each generation that goes by, because we feel like we're working hard or following the rules and been doing all the things that we've been told we should do and still falling behind. That's why I'm wearing the sky blue colour. I've settled on that as the combination between blue collar and white collar, because I think at the end of the day, that distinction of trying to turn people against each other is part of the problem. And if you're a hardworking Aussie, you're in the boat of getting screwed over by these multinational corporations and ultra wealthy multi-billionaires who are just in it to try and take everything. And we really need to fight back, because that's where it all links to. And I think when this sort of the story of Trump and Epstein that's coming out and the whole rise of Trump came about, and you can see behind me my friend Bernie Sanders, that they identify the same problem, that the problem is the elites that are ruling everything and sucking up all the money. It's just the solution is where we divert. Where I think the right wingers get it wrong is sort of chasing down a rabbit hole of conspiracies or punching down on people like immigrants, transgender people, Indigenous Aboriginal people, and try and turn people against people that are in many ways less fortunate than them, or at the very least not really the part of the problem that actually matters. And by that I mean Gina Rinehart is doing much more damage to the country as the wealthiest woman in Australia. She would happily wipe out all the jobs at her company, all the high-paid mining jobs. There's even a recording of her saying that there's workers in Africa that are willing to work for like something like 50 cents an hour or $2 a day, and almost boasts that she would be happy with that. And that's why she wants the Liberal National Coalition to get in, because they will slowly strip away everyday Aussies' rights and freedoms to have a good job and a good wage. And this links into things like housing affordability and wage stagnation, because I'm going to do a whole series on that. And most people, if you are trying to get into the housing market, or if you are a new home buyer and you realize how expensive it is to continually pay for a mortgage when interest rates have been rising, and that's good for rich people with a lot of savings accounts. But if you're new to the market and you've got to pay those interest rates, or you want to actually get in and buy your first home, how difficult that is, and how by design the wealthy, who a lot of the time have multiple properties, are not incentivized at all, especially the politicians. A lot of them who are property owners and multiple investment property owners are not at all motivated to do anything about it. And that's why the problem keeps going. And then you add on things in the modern world, which is becoming a huge issue. When I started this channel, my first interview was with my friend Jake, and I don't even know if we touched on it in the video, but we talked a bit about AI. And even in the last 3 months that I've been looking into AI and some of the work that I'm doing at the university on AI advocacy in terms of psychology, how AI is actually going to decimate the job market. Customer service jobs, a lot of technical jobs, even legal jobs. It might even touch into therapy jobs. There are a lot of people who turn to generative AI like ChatGPT as a therapist now because they can't afford therapy. All these problems are linked. And the problem is that it's not that Australia is not a wealthy country. We are, in terms of our population and our natural minerals and resources in our country, are a hugely wealthy country, and there is plenty of money to go around. It's just the way that money is sorted. and with a lack of investment in public utilities and infrastructure and services, that money getting funneled to subsidizing mining companies and giving that money to the wealthy who don't actually need it, in the form a lot of the time of tax cuts for the rich or subsidies to big business. The little guy is getting screwed. And that's where a lot of people will say, well, you have parties like the Greens or even the Labor Party that claim to help everyday Aussies. You can watch the Liberal Party do that, Liberal National Party do that too, but you can watch my video on why I don't believe that for a second. But the thing is, it's just not getting done fast enough, and that's why I feel politically homeless, and I call this podcast the podcast for the politically homeless, because I don't feel like there is a true party that actually represents the interest of everyday Aussies. Or if they do, like the Greens, for example, they either segmented and get caught up in cultural issues or the work issues, issues that really, they are important, but really those issues are not going to get solved if you can't win people over to your side and get the votes that you need to pass these things that will help everyday Aussies. You can't be obstructive. And that's why I think the independents that get this, that it's people over profit, that's the message that we need to push, that we are human beings living in this world, and capitalism is, for better or worse, the system that we have, the system that we need to live in, and it's spiraling out of control. And so, like, as with Bernie Sanders' latest book, it's okay to be angry at capitalism. Capitalism is like the family that you're being given. Maybe they're not perfect, they annoy the hell out of you. Maybe if you could go back again and choose them, you'd maybe choose a different one, but you're stuck with the system that you've got. We need to do more to reform it and make it better. And that's why this Everyday Aussie coalition is the thing. I don't know if coalition is the right word, maybe alliance, but the Everyday Aussie is who I'm fighting for. I am one. All my friends and family are everyday Aussies. And I think this is why so many people get frustrated at politics, because they don't feel like their representatives are fighting for them. And so now this is sort of my 10th main video, aside from my other series of videos like the Everyday Aussie and the Headline series. But now I'm going to really start to ramp it up and try and interview more politicians who are in office and try and ask them about what they're actually doing for everyday Aussies and how we can actually make the government work for the people and not for the 1%, like it very much has been. Because there is an opportunity here with this Labor government re-elected. They're at least talking like they support everyday Aussies, but there are so many issues in Australia that are getting out of control. The mental health crisis is going to be my next series of videos that we're going to have a look at in depth. And I hope you'll join me in that adventure to look at some of these important issues that are affecting everyday Australians. And this is an open invite too. If you've stumbled upon this channel, or if you're a subscriber and you like this content and want to talk to me, I'd be really open to having, I'm saying up to an hour. Like, I will go to if you're in Victoria, I'll come to you, or we can do it on Zoom. And I'd love to have a conversation with you about the political issues that affect you or that you care about. And what we can do, what I'm starting to do with people is, I'd love to ask who you voted for, look up the local politicians in your area and who they represent, and we can have that talk about politics and government and see what we can actually get done. Because I love philosophical, psychological conversations, but at the end of the day, we need to make some big changes, because from my very first video, I'm worried about the direction that Australia is heading, and I know so many people are. Pretty much everyone I talk to is not happy about the direction the country is going in for different reasons, but at the very least, I want to be practical in how we can actually steer the ship back to a place where we feel like things are back on track, because everyone knows that the way things are going, things are spiraling out of control, and we don't want to live in a world that goes down the path of the US or other countries that are definitely places that we don't want to live. And in saying that, I know Australia is one of the best countries to live. I would never move anywhere else. But that said, we can do so much better. And I think it starts with these political conversations. And that's what I intend to do. And my part that I can play in that is talking to anybody that I can, any everyday Aussie or everyday politician that wants to speak to me, I'd love to have you on and chat, because I think I'm really been enjoying learning about the political system and political issues from the people I talk to, and I'd love to continue that going. So if you want to reach out, my email will be in the description. My social media is all going to be there as well. And I'm really looking forward to ramping up this channel and talking about the issues that affect everyday Aussies and what can be done about it in the future. My name is Nathan Ogilvie. This is The Rightist Leftist. Please like, comment, subscribe on whatever platform you're consuming this video, and let's talk very soon.